us, we began asking the same questions. This book came out of some conversations I had almost a year ago. In January 2009, I was invited to participate in the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Every morning during that annual gathering of the world's economic and political elites, CNN interviewed a bundled-up CEO with the dramatic snowy magic mountain of Davos, Switzerland in the background. It was always the same reporter, and the question was always the same. When will this crisis be over? CNN actually had a whiteboard on which each CEO would write his or her answer predicting when the economic crisis would finally end. 2009, 2010, 2011, or later. All the delegates to the World Economic Forum woke up every morning in their hotel rooms to that CNN discussion. But on an unusual plenary panel at Davos titled "The Values Behind Market Capitalism," I suggested that CNN was asking the wrong question. Of course, we all want to know when the crisis will end, but I challenged the audience of CEOs and heads of state, suggesting the much more important question is, how will this crisis change us? How will it change the ways we think, act, and decide things? How we prioritize and value our success? How we do business? And how we live our lives? Yes, this is a structural crisis that clearly calls for new social regulation. But it is also a spiritual crisis that calls for new self-regulation. We seem to have lost some things and forgotten some basics, like our oldest and best values. Misplaced trust. We have trusted in the invisible hand of the market to make everything turn out all right, and we have believed that it wasn't necessary for us to bring virtue to bear on our decisions. But things haven't turned out all right, and the invisible hand has let go of some crucial ideals like the common good. The common good hasn't been very common in our economic decision-making for some time now, and the situation has spun out of control. I recited Gandhi's 7 deadly social sins to the world's business leaders because they seemed an accurate diagnostic for the causes of this crisis. The social sins that Gandhi used to instruct his young disciples in his ashram were: Number 1, politics without principle. Number 2, wealth without work. Number 3, commerce without morality. Number 4, pleasure without conscience. Number 5, education without character. Number 6, science without humanity. And number 7, worship without sacrifice. For days after the Davos Values Panel, participants would come up to me, pen and paper in hand, to make sure they got them right. There were other sessions at Davos on these subjects, as there always are. One was called Helping Others in a Post-Crisis World. It was full of the insights of social entrepreneurs and innovative philanthropists, all discussing new patterns of social enterprise, where capitalism is again in service of the big ideas and big solutions and not just making money. But the session was held early in the morning, in a small room, not the big Congress Hall, and it wasn't full. New ideas of business with a social purpose have been part of Davos before, but as in the global economy, social conscience has been a sidebar to business. Social purposes were somehow extracurricular to real business. But this year, the sidebar hit the main hall of discussion as a plenary discussion on values, and went to the center of the way participants were talking about how we do business. When you start with the wrong question, No matter how...
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.